Hi, I'm Jessica representing Ayurwoman, where we combine Ayurveda with women's health. Now today I'm going to be demonstrating how we might address menopausal symptoms naturally with the use of a yoga posture, the forward fold. It's also called Uthanasana. So when we are ready to begin this pose, we want to come to the front of our mats, feet hip-width apart, in that mountain pose, and then we'll slowly work our way down to forward fold. So why don't you go ahead and join me on your mat and follow along with me. Okay, so as you can see, I am in the front of my mat, feet hip-width apart, toes are spread nice and wide. You might not be able to tell from way over there, but I'm establishing a firm base for this pose. Okay, so I highly encourage you to first look at the toes, make sure that you're spreading them nice and wide, really expanding the base of the pose. Okay, so we're evenly pressing into the mat with all four sides of the feet, inside, outside, front and back. And then we're also pressing evenly into the mat with all 10 toes. Okay, we're stacking the joints, so the ankles stay below the knees, and the knees stay below the hips, and the hips stay below the shoulders. Okay, we want to keep at least a little bend in the knees here. A deep bend is recommended if we have any strain, especially in the low back. That could be an indication that the hamstrings are tight today. So feel free to keep a deep bend in the knees, take a little pressure off the hamstrings to relieve pressure from the spine. Okay? And then from here we can tune into our core stability. So we want to contract the abdominal muscles, the pelvic floor, the glute, the obliques. Okay, all to activate and protect the spine. Okay, and then the shoulders are down, away from the ears. Crown of the head lifts up to the sky. Bottom of the feet sink down into the earth. Okay, when we're ready to move into this forward fold pose, what we can do is we can first inhale and draw the arms up over the head to really elongate the spine, create some space between the vertebrae. And then as we exhale, we'll hinge at the hip, swooping the arms out and around, nice and slowly. Bringing the head and neck down to rest gently between the shoulders. We can rest the hands on the mat with the fingers facing the same direction as the toes. And I would recommend holding this pose for at least 3 to 5 deep breaths. Sinking deeper into the stretch with each exhale of the breath. Of course, there's a lot of modification options that we can put into practice in this pose. So if we're having trouble reaching the floor and we want a different option, we could try my favorite, which is just to grab opposite elbows and cradle the head. Okay, I find this to be a little more releasing for the shoulder blades. Certainly, everybody is different, so if that's not feeling good and you want a different option, we could try using blocks to elevate the level of the floor. So we could use 2 blocks, one for each hand, and rest that head and neck nice and loose. We could just use 1 block. Or we don't have a fancy yoga block, we could just use a chair. And as you can see, I have my nice ergonomic kneeling chair that I use for my yoga practice, but certainly any chair will work. You'll have to experiment with it a little, fidget and gidget around a little bit, so you're at the point where those joints stay stacked. Remember what I said about the ankles always being below the knees, knees always below the hips. We also want to keep the wrists in alignment with the shoulders. So take notice of how you're placing the hands and the arms on your chair here for a nice even stretch. And as we hold this pose, we can really think about letting go of any lingering tension or stress. A nice place to start would be with the face. So maybe putting a little smile on the lips. That'll help relieve tension, opening the airway, allowing that breath to flow freely in and out through the nose. And of course, in yoga, we get the most benefits if we're working in the parasympathetic nervous system. So in order to reach that part of the nervous system, we have to incorporate those deep belly breathing exercises. So with each inhale, we want to originate the breath from the diaphragm. Okay, move that breath up into the lungs. And then release the diaphragm and the lungs. And whenever you're ready to move out of this pose, do so nice and slowly in the same way that we got into the pose. So hinging at the hips, swooping the arms out and around, slowly bringing the head and neck up. You can inhale as the arms come up over the head. And then exhale as they come back down. Okay, so that's the forward fold pose. Thanks for tuning in to Ayurwoman, where we combine Ayurveda and women. Namaste.